Hi everyone, my name is Zach Hoyle with Blackpine Engineering. We're offering a disruptive technology in the turbo machinery market. Turbo machines use rotating blades to add or extract energy from a fluid. They move gases or they generate electricity from moving fluids. They're essential to everyday life and they're used in turbines, compressors, fans, but the thing is, they're not being used everywhere where they could be. This is because to make turbo machines at large size, you typically have to make them out of steel or metal, carefully machine them and forge them or cast them. This is an extremely expensive manufacturing process, which drives up the cost of these systems. This means that customers who would like to take advantage of the efficient and effective properties of turbo machinery simply can't, because the products that are out there right now are simply out of their reach. So our engineering team came up with the woven wheel. The woven wheel is making turbo machinery blades out of carbon fiber instead of steel. It's a woven design, meaning that the final product is 5 times lighter and 10 times cheaper than any turbo machinery product that's on the market today. It's a modular system with integrated motor and magnet components, meaning that this thing can be used both as a turbine, generating clean electricity, and a compressor which moves gases for industrial applications. It's made of carbon fiber, which is 3 times stronger than steel, and it also doesn't corrode like metal blades. That's a typical huge problem in industrial applications. So our engineering team has developed a number of solutions in the turbo machinery market where typically turbo machinery is simply not used, but it could be. So we've developed a number of solutions in the natural gas industry, the refrigeration and air conditioning industry, and the geothermal industry with huge markets. We can also use this thing for tidal turbines, wind turbines. We can drastically drive down the cost of clean energy in our country. So that's our motivation behind doing this, and the markets which we want to capture have high growth potential and are large markets. So we know that it's not a good idea to target all of these markets at once. We can't do that as a startup. So we've picked a protected market in the geothermal space where we have a clear competitive advantage over anything that's out there right now. Geothermal power plants use steam to generate power, which is then sold to the grid to generate revenue. But here's the #1 problem with geothermal power plants today. They're wasting 10% of their steam. Every geothermal power plant, the ones in California, the ones on the West Coast, all over the world, they're all wasting 10% of their valuable well steam. If they weren't wasting the steam, then they would be making a lot more power and it'd be a much more efficient system. So what we've developed is a system that recovers that lost steam and lost revenue using the woven wheel. You install this into a geothermal power plant, you're going to get 8% more power and $285,000 per year more when you incorporate this product for every one you buy. We have a full-scale prototype in use at a geothermal power plant in California. Basically what we do is we take the woven wheel, integrate all of your motor components, and eventually you multiply it by 10 in a row. It's a modular system, and you have the final product there. So we want to sell the entire pump, the 10-stage compressor, to geothermal power plant operating companies as a retrofit package for $1 million a pump, which will provide the customer with a 4-year return, which is very attractive in this industry. We can make them for $360,000 each, cost of goods sold. We're going to manufacture the first ones for our market entry, and this counts all of our indirect and direct expenses associated with operating our company. Shipping and installation is contracted out by the customer, but should cost around $50,000. Again, pretty low, thanks to the woven wheel. And we're including a 2-year parts warranty with the device. So recently, Blackpine Engineering has gained a lot of traction in our target geothermal space. We have a full-scale prototype in the field, which the customer paid for up front, which really illustrates the dire need for a solution in this market. We're in direct contact with our entire customer base. We have contact with every geothermal power plant in the United States, and we have valuable relationships with them. We just recently won a Department of Energy business plan competition, $100,000, and We're Blackpine Engineering, and we're reinventing the wheel. Thank you.
So, really nice presentation.
Thank you.
So just a quick question to start. Where do you come up with this as a problem? Why do you think that, where did this idea come from in starting this company?
Well, the technology has been in development at Michigan State University for a few years now. This actually was developed, the problem that first was trying to be solved here was with using water as a refrigerant. And it's a refrigeration systems. People have been wanting to use water as the working fluid in refrigeration for a long time because it's more efficient. But the thing is, compressors, which is an essential part of refrigeration systems, are usually have to be very, very large and very, very expensive. So Dr. Norbert Mueller, who's on our team, the inventor, came up with this woven wheel, a way of making turbo machinery a great deal cheaper and a great deal lighter, and that was the initial problem that they were trying to solve. But as things developed, we noticed that there was this clear need in the geothermal space for large compressors, for large turbo machines. So that's kind of how we ended up in the geothermal space, was that our customer actually, the first prototype in the field right now, they actually approached us with the idea of using the technology in this application.
Zach, really good presentation, very clear, very well articulated.
Thank you.
The question I had was, you mentioned the 4-year return on investment for most of your customers.
Mm-hmm.
As you've talked to them, even the ones that have paid up front, what are their non-return on investment concerns as they think about the retrofit market? And then I guess the second question I have is there much of a greenfield market on the geothermal side?
The green...
New geothermal plants coming up.
Oh, right, yeah, very good questions.
Yeah.
First thing that you mentioned, geothermal power plants do have a concern with maintenance and the ease of installation. The good thing about the woven wheel and the good thing about this multi-stage compressor system we're making is that each one of those stages can be individually removed and maintained. It's a very low maintenance system, and for geothermal power plants, we call them the #1 thing that they ask is, all right, how much more money am I going to be making, and how often do I have to maintain it? That's the #1 thing to worry about, and we're designing this product to be a low maintenance system. And new geothermal power plants are being developed primarily in the global space. We plan on first targeting in the United States, power plants in California. One's operated by Calpine at the Geysers. Not sure if you heard of it. It's a large geothermal space that we're targeting. There's a lot of growth in the global market, but we're targeting the United States market first, and eventually we're going to target new geothermal power plants, the operating companies of those, to install them when they're working on those new plants.
Could you say what you would have said about the team had you had more time? And I'd like specifics, kind of like we had with the first speaker.
Okay. So the team that we have right now, we have 5 people on the management team. We're a young group, but we're very passionate about what we do. And our engineering team is 5 experienced turbo machinery engineers who are experts in woven wheel turbo machinery, manufacturing and testing and design. And that includes Dr. Mueller, the inventor of the technology, with 6 patents in turbo machinery. But the management team itself, we have people who specialize in the customer relations, the marketing, as well as being the lead of the technical team is Dr. Mueller.
Any females?
Not yet.
So I encourage you to, as you grow, add females to the team, because if you wait too long, it becomes a boys' club, and it's really hard. Now, this is an area where there probably are not a lot of women who are studying this.
We actually have one who we want to bring on who's part of the engineering team, but we kind of wanted to get her involved in the management side of things.
Okay, so one is not enough. But
No, I agree.
Okay, and then the other thing is, do you have an advisory board yet? And if so, who's on it?
Yeah, we have an advisory board, primarily consisting of advisors who we've met through our participation in events like the Clean Tech Open. We've got a number of mentors through that. We've stayed in contact with, as well as organizations around Michigan State like Spartan Innovations, who helps with commercialization projects. We've been very involved with them. They have been helping us a great deal. We have advisors in the industry as well, and we're still looking to bring on manufacturing experience onto our team. That's the number one thing that we're trying to get once I get home, is start looking for some people with manufacturing expertise who can help get the plant up and running. We had something going earlier for the full stage prototype, but to get our first 3 systems for early adopter, who we're in negotiations with to get this actually manufactured, we're going to need to do things the right way, so that it's more scalable. What's that?
You're going to make it in Lansing?
We're going to make it in Lansing.
My family
Yeah.
comes from Hamtramck, Michigan. So,
Yeah.
So the last thing, you mentioned Clean Tech Open. What year did you go through?
That was last year. Me personally, I was involved in a different venture.
Okay.
Before I,
This would win. Have you entered yet? Not this year.
I've gotten emails from people saying, hey, you should apply, but that's pretty much the next thing on my list.
Yeah,
to do
but
is
so
apply
for next year, because this would have won any of the last 4 years probably. I know because I'm the advisor to the National Judge and co-chairs, and this is really amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Last lawyer question.
Oh, I should say that those things I gave you, those brochures, are a marketing tool for geothermal power plants. That's not an investor thing. That is something that shows geothermal power plants what exactly this NCG removal compressor, which is a technical term for the steam recovery device that we're selling. So it's a technical document marketing tool. So that's what that is, what I should say.
Do you have a slide on the team that you didn't get to that's got more detail on the team members?
Well, when I was making the slide, I kind of tried to focus on having less slides rather than going into detail. I had a slide that went through everyone's name and qualifications, but I could list them off if that would help.
Keep that in the appendix always.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
add pictures.
definitely. It was a mistake to
You'll
do
learn
that.
Yeah. Can you just give us a little bit more detail around who's heading the business side in particular?
Mhm. Well, the business side of things is right now is headed by we have an environmental policy and economics PhD student right now named Joe Haggerty at Michigan State University, who has very specific set of skills in the energy industry, who's helping us develop our business plans specifically for eventual expansion into these larger markets with larger potential, like water turbines and refrigeration. So that is the primary person who's on the business side. Myself, I'm a mechanical engineer, but I also am acting CEO of this company. I've been the primary driver for the business plan and as well as that sort of stuff. But we also have somebody who specializes in customer relations and marketing, who's been doing a lot of the customer calls, who's been calling all the customers, developing relationships. I've been talking to him as well, but his name is Karsten Harms. He's actually a mechanical engineer at Michigan State. We found that it's best that engineers call engineers.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that. But that's kind of the core of the business side of what we're doing, along with Dr. Mueller experience in the turbo machinery industry. So,
Yeah. How many of you guys are full-time?
well, right now full time we have 3 people on the management team, but the engineers are working full time as part of their graduate research. They've said that, and they have told us that they are willing and ready to join on as full-time members, and we get investment to actually manufacture, fully develop, and sell these systems. Thank you.